All right.
It could be whatever you want it to be. That's the beauty of it, Ben. You can say anything.
Boobs!
Hello. And we're back.
Titties.
Welcome back to Geordie Media with Ben, Paul, and Lotty. Today is just like any other day where we would do a podcast and chat absolute garbage about like the latest in gaming news, movie news, and just shit crack in general. It's been a while, but there's a lot to talk about and a lot to crack on with, so let's just get stuck straight in. Have you seen, Paul in particular, because I know Lotty's seen it because I made her watch it. Have you seen the Gran Turismo movie trailer?
No.
Why is that a thing? That is like Gran Turismo is not a story game. Like I'm sure. I think it has a Korean.
Right. From my mind went to. Do you know that? Who's that guy who punched BBC presenters or what have you?
Jeremy Clarkson.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah, I thought you were talking about they made a movie of that show.
Top Gear.
What's the show he does? No,
yeah, I know what you mean.
Anyway, yeah, I thought that's what you're talking about.
Yeah, the Grand Tour.
Yeah.
Is that well, yeah, they've just made a movie of Jeremy Clarkson just punching people. That's all that movie is. That's all that trailer was.
Yeah, in cinemas 2024, and it's just Jeremy Clarkson chinning people and cars.
Watch that. I'll watch that.
I would actually watch that, to be fair.
Punching people. Yeah, absolutely.
But no, I haven't. I'll have to watch that.
So Gran Turismo, obviously,
no, you don't.
Like a best. Yeah, exactly. So like Gran Turismo being known as like a kind of best in class driving sim. So like the idea that you'd make a story out of it, and it's very much like I don't want to say Fast and Furious because that's too out there. It's more tame than Fast and Furious. It's more like Gone in 60 Seconds or something shit like that. And
do not say the Nicolas Cage Gone in 60 Seconds. That movie's amazing. Don't compare this trash to that movie.
How very dare you? I haven't even seen it now. I'm furious.
I'm trying to think of what other like Nicolas Cage that I can compare it to. That's acceptable. Drive Angry, Drive Angry.
Yeah,
yes, Drive Angry.
Didn't Aaron Paul make one of these? Need for Speed?
Yeah, he did. Years
ago.
There
you go.
The thing is, though, is like with like Need for Speed, that's like a story, though, isn't it? So it's like that does have a story mode. I'm not saying that Gran Turismo has, but like it'll be like you join a fucking street race and there's a bunch of people and it's like that is closer to Fast and Furious, really. But
I say that just
the whole concept of this is really shit. So the idea is that this kid is really good at the actual game, Gran Turismo. So then he actually gets hired by a racing team, and apparently it's based on a true story, but it just looks fucking shit.
Right.
And like, why does that need to happen?
That is ridiculous.
I find it very impossible.
So hire him to race real cars.
I find that so impossible. That's based on a real story. I'm calling bullshit. I'm researching the shit out of this later, because there's no way that game and driving does not translate to real driving, as Ben will tell you that I can't drive in games at all. But I'm actually a decent enough driver in life. Decent enough. I'm not great.
Yeah.
Hey, it's better than my Far Cry driving for sure. No cliffs involved.
To be fair, every time you play Far Cry, you get attacked by weird animals that nobody gets attacked by. I watched her play Far Cry once for an hour, only an hour, and 5 turkeys attacked her in the space of an hour. And it was it was like Far Cry 5, I think it was, and I'd completed Far Cry 5 and I hadn't seen one turkey. You got attacked by 5 in an hour. I'm like,
it was that Angry Turkey DLC, man. You weren't there for it. That's the new game. The big bad guy's just a turkey this time. So
it happens to us all the time.
You playing one of the Far Cry's. It was just a constant bombardment of people or animals. There was no time to like relax. It was just a bunch of guys that show up and shoot, and then would get like attacked by a honey badger or something. There was just no moment's peace in that game. Even climbing a tower, there was like honey badgers just at the top. Do you know what I mean?
It wasn't turkeys, though, Paul.
I get that.
That's true.
Well, that's true. Yeah, maybe it was a Christmas DLC or something. Like they changed all animals to turkeys,
like Pilgrim DLC. And that, yeah.
Just me running away from like a group of turkeys was ridiculous.
I just don't understand
Sounds
though.
good.
Like the thing with Far Cry is just a total subversion. It's why you cannot walk on a main road. If you walk on a main road, a million animals, a million guys show up, a million trucks show
Yeah.
up. It's like this weird.
Yeah.
Like I love the chaos, but it's like kind of like a flaw in the game design. Is that the second you get near a road, just like everything spawns at once. It's like someone's like intentionally spawned in 300 things
Yeah.
to piss you off.
With your 5 bullets, you've got to destroy like 8 people and
And a
9
bear.
animals. And a bear, yeah. There's just a bear minding it.
Just a bear.
He gets
A
angry
bear
at the
spitting
cycle.
5 turkeys at you. a turkey
Goddamn
riding a bear
turkeys.
in a battle. That's
It happens
So-
in Far Cry 5.
So Gran Turismo, just to jump back onto that briefly, like
yeah.
it's got the guy off Stranger Things in it. The guy who plays Hopper, I always forget his name. He was Hellboy as well. The new
What?
Hellboy. David Harbour. I got it.
Yeah, David Harbour.
Lotty's good. Lottie
I
always
love how
gets
you got
it.
it a second before Lottie.
Yeah,
You're like, I'll take
I
that
have
win.
to because Lottie.
He did take that one, didn't he?
Like, you
He
watch the
jumped on
show,
that.
Yeah.
and I'm like, I think I recognise her, and she's like, oh yeah, she was in this. I'm like,
What?
right?
Yeah.
Another IMDb, and your phone's not anywhere near. Yeah, I don't like everyone. You're like, oh yeah, especially
It's a
you know
skill.
this yourself. It's being a big Supernatural fan, you'll know this. Like, obviously, a million people have been in Supernatural because they did 13 seasons. So she's like that. She's like, oh,
15.
I'm like, where do I recognize this person from? Sorry, you sad cunt. Sorry, it's actually 15.
Get it right.
Don't you forget it. Like, all right.
It's because you mentioned season 13 and I instantly got angry because it's just atrocious. So I had to be like, no, there's 15.
13 doesn't
Not
exist.
that it ended any better than season 13.
So, like, everyone
Yeah.
who's been in a film or TV between the years that was made
Yeah.
was probably in an episode
Same.
of fucking Supernatural. So she's
Yeah.
like, oh, they're in
I'll be
Oh,
Supernatural.
God, yeah.
Supernatural.
She's like-
Supernatural.
So, like, when
every time.
we're watching the Final Destination films this week because they're just
Yeah.
like a bad good time. And
Yeah.
she was
Mhm.
just like, "Oh yeah, they're in Supernatural. They're in Supernatural.
Yeah.
That person was in Supernatural."
Same with Aliens versus Predator Requiem.
Ooh, that's on my
I
list.
mean, you can hardly see that film because it's so dark.
Mm.
But it's like it's literally the darkest film in the world, and I don't mean in like tone. I just mean nobody put any lights on, so you can't tell what's going on. But like somebody will walk in a frame, and I'll be like, "Yeah, Supernatural," but then you can't see anything else that happens in the
Yeah.
movie, and it's also terrible.
When you
Oh,
watch that,
I'm still gonna watch it.
Predator film as well.
Oh yeah, I mean,
Mhm.
I'll rewatch it again. I like watching them. I can watch bad movies. It's fun
Oh,
for
I
me.
love a bad
From
movie.
bad movie to potential bad movie, I want to talk about what your thoughts and feelings are on the Flash movie that's coming. Because for me personally, like the only kind of interest around it is the fact that it's starring like our Batman, Michael Keaton.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like, and a
Yeah.
lot of the posters are like Batman centric, and I think they're doing everything they can to steer away the attention from Ezra Miller and his like recent
Well, yeah.
controversies. But like, what do you think about like what you've seen so far, like the trailer? What's your feelings or hype about it? Or
I'm
that's the
I'm not gonna lie.
I was
No.
Lottie just deflated. Fucking movies, man, the bullshit.
I'm not hyped at all.
I am. But I'm not hyped for Ezra Miller because, like, don't get us wrong, I've seen all of the. Is it the Snyderverse? I've seen
The
them all. All
Snyderverse.
of the
Yeah,
Justice
Snyder's
League.
That's just such
Snidey.
a
Yeah.
British colloquial term, isn't it? Snide.
Yeah. I don't think he's a good Flash. I don't like the way he runs in the Snyderverse. Do you know all that stuff? Like that.
Conor McGregor walking down to the ring, innit?
Yeah. Well, I watched the Flash TV show. Well, I did. It's absolute garbage now. But like the first 3 seasons were good, and the guy playing the Flash is amazing. Like he's in the CW. Do you know how you get CW
Yeah.
actors? But
Yeah.
he's in the CW, but he shouldn't be there. He's actually a really great actor, and he
Okay.
should have been the Flash for me personally. So I'm a bit bitter. But then, of course, what the hell?
Just a bit.
Has my computer just died? No.
Did you just black
Right,
screen?
sorry.
Did you?
Can you still
Yeah,
hear
it
us?
clears out.
Yeah.
I can't hear anything.
Really?
Something's happened.
No. What were we talking about?
The Flash.
Oh yeah, the Flash. So the last thing that happened, Lottie was just like, and Ezra Miller, and then I started talking about the Flash, so I can just go back to what I
Yeah.
was talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well. Ezra Miller is problematic. He or what's his
They.
pronouns?
They.
I
I
don't know.
think
They They are problematic as fuck. And I don't think he's a good Flash. Grant Gustin from the CW is a better Flash, and it should have been him. So before he even kidnapped children or whatever it was, he allegedly did.
Before he went off and
Sorry,
kidnapped those kids.
I already didn't like him as the Flash,
Yeah.
and then he runs like that, and it's just stupid. But Keaton Batman, obviously, I grew up watching him, and Christian Bale, no, not Christian Bale. The other one,
Yeah.
Batfleck.
Batfleck.
I'm excited to see him.
It's got the Michael Keaton Batmobile in as well. Like that was my childhood Batmobile. Like, I had toys of that and stuff. You know what I mean? So I'm just like,
But I've also heard rumors that George Clooney's Batman's in
holy
it as well.
bat nipples, let's go.
And that I'm all about that. Even if it's like 3 seconds and he just turns up with a bat call.
Absolutely,
I'll be like, film of the year.
Never leave the house without it.
Bat nipples, Batman.
Yeah.
Yeah. But James Gunn's like, it's fantastic, right? But
is it though?
He didn't say that about Shazam 2. So I think with James Gunn, I think he speaks the truth. So I do think it's going to be a good movie.
Yeah.
That's one of the things I like about James Gunn. Like, he'll point out some bullshit when someone's like, this person's going to be Superman. He's like, well, that's a fucking lie. That's bullshit. And like on his Twitter and that. So I do believe, personally, he thinks it's great. So, but I don't think Ezra Miller's coming back as a Flash after this, because people have asked James Gunn, and he's like, we'll see. And you're just like, nah, he's not coming back. Well, rightly so, because I mean, they kidnapped a kid or has a cult.
I'm not like an Ezra Miller fan,
so yeah,
because obviously I don't really like
no
follow his individual work. Sorry, their individual work. But I did like them ask the Flash, because I don't have that previous experience of, I didn't watch the Flash TV show. I'm not really that invested in it.
That's
and
fair.
Obviously I thought Justice League was shit until the Snyder Cut, but I actually really liked the Snyder Cut. And obviously his character is really pivotal in that. You know what I mean? Like, he's essentially the hero, really. Yeah. And I thought he was really good. I liked him as a bumbling thing. But obviously it's like the bumbling freaking Barry Allen. But like, obviously I don't know him outside of that. I never like of all the comics I read, I never read any Flash. You know what I mean? I've read a lot of Batman and Nightwing and stuff, but never read any Flash. So like, I didn't have any, like, what's the word, like pre-expectations or like comparison reference points.
Yeah.
So I'm totally casual in that sense.
Enough.
So, but for me, it's just like the controversy around it. It's like, I don't know at what point do we still support the studios when they're doing, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, we've got Aquaman 2 coming out. I think that's this year, and it's like the Amber Heard thing. Like, I don't personally, my personal opinion is, I don't think Amber Heard is a good person. I don't like her. I don't want to support her. So that, don't get us wrong, I also thought Aquaman 1, before any of this came out, was just an actual garbage movie. But like, if I'd loved that movie, like, I would actually not support like Aquaman 2. I'm not going to support Aquaman 2, but mainly just because it was garbage. I'm just not interested in it, you know what I mean? Yeah. But like, it's like that point of like, what point do you draw the line? Where it's like with Ezra Miller, I don't really know, because I haven't looked into it enough. Whereas obviously the Amber Heard thing was like the biggest news at the time. So like, the whole world was looking at that. Yeah. And I think she came out terribly, personally. So I don't think I don't think she's a good person. I think she's a liar, personally.
Yeah, she's a horrible person, but I mean, it's one of those things that, well, if it's a woman, it's not seen as bad as if it's a man. So a lot of people are like, oh, well, we'll just keep her in the movie. Johnny Depp lost Pirates of the Caribbean, and he was proven innocent. You know what I mean?
It's like, I don't understand how, like, you would just think, even if her, I'm obviously, once again, same like Flash, I'm not very familiar with Aquaman as a character, and like, I've never read any Aquaman or anything. I presume she's an important character, but I also just think, for the sake of the movie, your movie franchise, just recast her if you need that character. If you need to keep that character, I'm not being funny, but there's a lot of generic redheads. Like, that's all she is. She's obviously she's not a natural redhead, but I mean, like, she's just a generic looking woman. Like, she's not like, what's the word? She is objectively pretty. Like, she is a beautiful woman, but she's like generic, you know what I mean? So I just feel like
she's not a standout actor.
Yeah, so it's just like any blonde could play that role. But all the more reason to replace her. It's like, get rid of the controversy, get a better actress / actor or whatever. Just
hasn't James Gunn getting rid of them all now anyway? Like, Gal Gadot's not coming back as Wonder Woman. Henry Cavill's not coming back as Superman.
I mean, absolutely in that sense, but they've already kept. They are keeping Amber Heard for at least Aquaman 2, aren't they?
for Aquaman 2, and I think they are keeping Jason Momoa for Aquaman because he had a meeting with him and he came out and he's like, yeah, fuck yeah, I can't wait for you to see what we've discussed and blah 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 blah. So either that or he's going to become Lobo, which I think could be cooler because he does look more like Lobo than an Aquaman. But I haven't seen Aquaman anyway because I mean it's got fish in it.
You have that thing. Is there a proper name for it? There's like a proper name for that fear of underwater.
Thessalophobia or something.
Wait, what?
It's like scared of dark under Thessalophobia or something like that. It's basically you're scared of like underwater creatures.
Oh, okay.
And I mean, somebody said there was a scene where they're like riding around in a whale's mouth, and I was just out. I was like, well, I can't watch that then because I'm scared of.
So because I'm such
monsters,
a supportive friend to Paul, and I know that he hates fish, I regularly send him the most harrowing clips that I can find. So he did. Obviously, I'm a big Battlefield guy. There's like a map on Battlefield 5 where you can go and jump into the water and there's a whale, and I just sent him a clip of that. There's a bit on, I think it's the Division 2 where you go to an aquarium, and as you walk into the aquarium, that's all. Like it's like post-apocalyptic, dilapidated. There's like a giant squid inside the like tunnel, and I sent him that video. And, and I'm like, yeah, friendship.
And then he's like, "Have you seen? I got a 4K monitor." He's like, "You should watch some 4K videos. Watch this one, whale." I was just like, "No, thank you. Fuck off."
But that is like
it
true.
Really pops. I was like, "Yeah, no thanks."
That's a true supportive friendship, though. Knowing what scares the living shit out of you, and just exposing you to it on a daily basis.
Did I tell you?
He's trying to reduce me
fear. That's what it is.
Shock therapy. What he's doing. He's just such a good friend.
Did I tell you the time I accidentally made Lottie cry? Did I tell you that? So it was the first time I got a 4K TV. We got a 4K TV, I don't know, 5 years ago, something like that. And I was like, oh God, had like Dolby Vision HDR, so it looked incredible. And I was like, well, I need to go on. So I went on Netflix, and it was like,
it's not funny.
National Planet or something like that. And I was just like, oh, look at this, and I just clicked a random episode, and it was in the South Pole or something like that, or Antarctica or something, and it was showing you these like frozen mountain landscapes, and I'm like, oh, look how beautiful that is, like, oh, it's amazing. And then what's that guy called? The guy who does the voiceover, is it David Attenborough? David Attenborough comes on, it's like, here we see the mother seal. She is leaving the baby seal because she knows she cannot protect it from a polar bear. Then a polar bear just comes and eats a baby seal. But like that's like, I've only been showing Lottie the TV for like maybe 20 seconds. I'm like, look how beautiful that is. Look how good the picture is. And then it's like, look at the skull. Like a baby seal's fucking skull being crushed by a fucking.
Look how red the blood looks.
Look how vivid the blood is.
Yeah. And there we have the dead body.
Now we have a close up on a mother seal crying.
Yes, that was the thing. It was like, she knows that her baby's dead.
Look at the mother seal crying.
Well, of course she does. She fucking left the country. Wow. Like, I can have another baby.
Yeah. It was her fault, to be fair.
So
she was like, I can't do this. I can't look after me children. Was that seal my mom? And I was like, bye.
That was not how I wanted to be introduced to a very fancy new TV.
Yeah, definitely not.
So Lottie loves 4K anyway. Moving on.
Yeah.
So the kind of biggest bit of news I think that's happened in the gaming circle was Xbox finally released Redfall, which has just basically come out and been absolutely critically panned. I kind of like for Xbox in particular. I mean, the studio Arcane Austin are known for making good games. What did they make recently? What is that game? That game that they made recently wasn't that good, actually. My mind's just went completely blank. It's where it's like you're on Death. I was just about to say you're on a loop, and then the name came in. You had Deathloop. Deathloop was the most recent game, which wasn't that good.
Yeah.
But prior to that, they'd made Prey, which had been critically massive, and like that's quite a unique style of game. And then I was actually looking forward to Redfall because I like Far Cry and open world games, and I even like some looter shooters. So I was like quite looking forward to it. And like Vampires open world sounds really good on paper, but then obviously it's just come out and it's been absolutely garbage. And it's been getting like absolutely shit on.
I haven't played it.
What's really interesting is I don't know if you've seen it, but like Phil Spencer did an interview. So Phil Spencer's the head of Xbox marketing and everything. And he did an interview on the Kind of Funny Games podcast. And he was like, tail between his legs, like, just basically admitting that like Xbox kind of sucks right now. And it was like it was kind of like it was like earnest and humble and stuff, but it was like quite shocking to see him just like yeah, we're not
Yeah.
delivering. I hate disappointing the fans. But he said some like
Well, then
crazy shit
do a
as well.
game
Like one
that's
of the things
good.
that yeah, I think a lot more was riding on it.
Yeah, I mean, it's that
It
simple.
is. It kind of is, though, isn't it? Yeah, like,
Yeah,
Release a good
it
game
is.
though.
It
a
is.
lot.
Yeah. I mean, all I have to do is turn it around, is deliver a AAA title that works and that is good on the level of PlayStation. And now I'm not a fanboy of PlayStation. I've got an Xbox and a PlayStation, but PlayStation are just
Yeah.
doing so much better in the terms of not just sales, like games that have a good story.
Obviously,
Do you know what I mean?
PlayStation's
Like
bread and
The Last
butter.
of Us 2,
Yeah,
God of
PlayStation's
War.
bread and butter is like single player
Yeah.
experiences, and Xbox is just absolutely just dropping on that front massively. Like
Mhm.
weirdly, they've bought all these studios, and yet obviously it's like I know a game takes 3 to 5 years, but it's just like I feel like it's been years, and we're not seeing any like the kind of fruits of those results. They've bought all these studios, and like where are the games? Like I don't think I think there's a lot of people saying like there's no reason to buy an Xbox. I don't think that's true. I do think that like the Xbox Series X is more powerful than the PlayStation, so a lot of games run better on the Xbox. And if your friends are on that ecosystem, and one of the points that like Phil brought up, which I thought was quite interesting, was he basically said this is like half kind of makes sense, and then I think it's half insane. Was what he said. He basically was like, if we were to just start making really good games, like Xbox wouldn't win, like would still be third place, because the third place essentially like Sony's top, Nintendo's
Yeah.
second, and Xbox third. And they're saying because this, he said what was interesting was that they lost the previous generation. So he's like, we lost the Xbox One generation, and he's like, that was the generation when people made their game libraries, because he's like, that's when
Right.
we say the massive shift from like buying an actual physical disc to downloading games, which is the case. And he's like, so people will start building the libraries. So now, like, if you built your library on PlayStation, you might have 500 PlayStation games. If Xbox releases 3 really fucking good games, are you going to give up that library? Which I thought was kind of an interesting point, but I also feel like that's not the case
Yeah.
or the point, because I think if you did release an absolutely amazing game, people would just go and buy an Xbox or to play it. You know what I mean? I do think people would do that. I don't think
Yeah.
this idea that like you have to like sell your PlayStation to buy an Xbox. I think that's a really weird mindset. Like a Series
Yeah,
S is so
definitely.
cheap, even secondhand, especially. It's like if they had an absolute banger of a game, you best believe people would buy a second console for it. That's what console gamers
Yeah, of
do.
course.
Like
Definitely.
even casuals, I know,
Yeah.
like when like not last generation, but the generation before, like the longest generation, the PS3, Xbox 360 days, loads of people had both. Like who you
Yeah.
wouldn't call hardcore gamers, and it was just because the games they liked were on opposite consoles.
Yeah, that's
Well,
the
that's
thing.
it.
Like, if you release
I
a
mean,
game that's good, then people are going to buy
I
it
don't
and
know.
people are going to want to play it. I don't think saying about the libraries is a
Well,
good
that's
cop
it.
out, to be honest. I think if your game, like, if this Redfall had actually been a good game and hadn't absolutely shit the bed and it delivered everything it had promised, people would want to play it, so they would buy the console. But that's just not happened.
Yeah, well, that's it. I mean, it's like with The Last of Us, the TV show, that has sold more consoles and more games of The Last of Us, because people have watched the show and might not necessarily game, and they've went and bought a console to play it.
Yeah.
So it's the same thing. If you get a banger of a game on Xbox, a lot of people are going to buy
That's a
the
good point, though.
Xbox to
It's
play it. They're not
such
going
a
to
good
sell their
point that you're making about
PlayStation.
TV shows, because if you make a banger of a good TV show as well, that can also like obviously draw sales in again. Obviously, the remastered The Last of Us Part
It's a
1
whole new audience.
just before they brought it, or like
Mhm.
kind of like, yeah, it's a whole new audience from that, and like that's
Yeah.
another thing Xbox like fumbled the bag with, because they did it with Halo. The Halo TV series didn't do well, and it's like, so
I
if
didn't
you'd
even
made a
realize
good
there was
TV
one.
show, more people might exactly. If you did
Yeah, well,
well
that's
like
it.
on that TV show, then you might have got a bunch of people to play Halo as well, and you didn't.
Yeah.
Well,
You
that's
know
it. Yeah.
what I mean?
No, didn't even
The
realize there was
problem
one.
is, and
Yeah.
I mean, is it Phil Spencer? I mean, he's the head of Xbox, so he's got to take the criticisms. I mean, if you can take the praise, he's got to take the criticisms. That game, I haven't played it, but I've seen the reviews. Is absolute dog shit. I mean, I'll obviously play it myself and form an opinion, but I mean, it's buggy
Yeah.
and it's broken. I think they're trying to play catch up to PlayStation, and there's no point in doing that. You've already lost in that regard. Just get good games. I mean, the last E3 was what, 3 years ago? when Fable
Mhm.
was announced.
Yeah.
We haven't had anything since. They've had 3 years. Why haven't we had a trailer build hype
Yeah.
for something when there's literally
So the
nothing
podcast
that
was quite
we're
good
hyped
because,
for?
I mean, don't get us wrong, I think he did take a lot of responsibility, but I also
Yeah.
see both sides of the sentiment. I don't think taking responsibility, like sometimes sorry isn't enough, and I feel like it's a
Yeah.
bit like that where it's like I understand what you're saying, and I don't envy your position because he's in between what's the word, between a rock and a hard place. It's like he's having to say this sucks, and it's kind of like, although Arcane Austin wasn't with Xbox for their previous release, like now they are with Xbox, and this is their exclusive game. So it now has become an Xbox game, and now that it's not an Arcane Austin game, it's an Xbox game. It's an Xbox Microsoft Studio first party title exclusive game. It's got to be held to a higher standard, and it sounds like they don't really hold their studios to that standard. What they do is they buy a studio, and then that means the studio now has a lot more monetary support, but that don't think they were being like directly supported by Xbox, and he kind of admits that and says we need to start doing that. I don't think it's a case of we can just buy a studio and be hands off. We now need to realize that if it's going to be a Microsoft exclusive, there's a lot of weight that comes with that, and we need to quality check it. Because one of the things he said as well was, he said, we do internal reviews, and he said like their internal reviews were saying the game should like be good. Like he thought the game was going to be like an 8 out of 10, and then obviously when it's come out, come out
Wow.
and it's like a 4 out of 10. And I'm just like thinking,
Yeah,
but who's
that's
played that and
insane.
thought that's an 8 out of 10? Like who's played it actually and
Yeah.
went, yeah,
But
that'll be an 8 out of 10. That.
yeah, this is the thing though. I think as well, releasing new games that are not necessarily ready, like what Paul was saying, it's glitchy. I mean, some of the clips that I've seen from it are ridiculous, and that seems to be the norm. But before they started doing just games on a disc, games on discs used to just work. Now with studios releasing games like basically not finished. I mean, Redfall might be good in 6 to 8 months, but that's not what people want. People want to play a game that works now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird.
Well, that's the
Sorry,
thing.
go ahead, Paul.
That is the thing. That's all right. Like I can't remember what game it was. What you call
Yeah.
it? Cyberpunk.
Yeah.
Massive case
Like,
study.
don't get us wrong. I love The Witcher, but that was broken when it came out.
Yeah.
But again, 6 to 8 months later, it runs like a dream, and
I'm
it's
a
a great
massive
game. But
Cyberpunk fan, and that's quite it's such a good point because obviously it came out in such a terrible state. An unacceptable state, I think, for a lot of people. Personally, I didn't have that many bugs, but I was playing it on like the Series X and my PC. But obviously, it was advertised, it was announced many years ago, and it was announced for like PS4 and Xbox One, and it just wasn't capable of running on those machines.
Yeah.
But that's not
Yeah,
a
I'm still
fault of the
really
machines.
bitter.
That's a fault of them making it. You know what I mean?
I'm still
Yeah.
super bitter about State of
I
Decay
agree.
2, and I've never played it ever since. Because when it first was released, it was so
Same.
broken and
Well,
so
yeah, same.
janky.
It's
I
quite
just sacked it off. I was like, I'm not playing it.
We were so hyped for State of
Yeah.
Decay. I've just seen this week, I think it was this
Yeah.
week or last week, they've just had something like that 50th update. Like it's had like some like massive updates, like I don't know, that fucking 100th update or something, because they are still updating the shit out of it. But it's just like, at what point do you decide like to like, for example, I love Cyberpunk, so when every time they do add something new or fix something, I do go back and play it, but I use it more as an excuse to go
Yeah.
back and play a game I already like. Whereas like
Yeah.
the casual person, not even the casual, just a lot of people who just feel burnt by it, which rightly so, like just won't go back and give that another go.
Well,
And
that's
it's
it.
that kind of same thing again. Like should I, am I going to go back and play Redfall in a year's time when it's good? Probably not.
Mm. Especially
No.
because if people have
Well, I
people
mean,
have paid for
think
this
of
game.
State of Decay 2.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll let you finish.
Oh no, you go on.
Yeah, I think we're a bit delayed with Lotty sometimes.
Right. Well,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, State of Decay. I remember when it first came out, we would talk about, oh, can't wait for State of Decay 2 or Class 4 or whatever it was going to be called. And then when we got it, there was just so much wrong with it that we stopped playing it. I think it was exactly the same day it came out. We played it and then we never went back.
Yeah.
We played it for a day and it was just so broken. And there was so many issues with it.
Yeah.
Like, you'd have to all loot together the house because there was certain sections of the house that you had to loot to get all of the loot. And it was just a ball ache. So I think like creators of games now, the devs have just got a disconnect from what that customers actually
Yeah.
want.
Mhm.
And I mean, it's not that hard. We want a game that works. We want a game that's fun. Don't put arbitrary crap in so we can get annoyed. Just
I
make
mean,
it
the
fun.
thing is we
That's
were
what
like,
we want.
like I said, me and you in particular have been following State of Decay for like probably
Yeah.
years before State of Decay 1 even came out, and at least 6 years before State of Decay 2 came out. Like I say, when it
Mhm.
was just like a
Definitely.
concept, and like all they needed to do was literally make State of Decay 1 co-op. That's all the fans wanted,
Mhm.
and instead they were like, let's just make it again from scratch, and add all this shit in. Like
Yeah.
nobody wanted any of that shit. They just wanted State of Decay 1
No.
with co-op. Do you know what I mean? Like I think that's what Dead Rising
Yeah.
2 did really well. It was just more Dead Rising, but with co-op. That's all you wanted, and that's why that's such a good co-op game. Do you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Definitely. Yeah, I agree. I love the Dead Rising games. I mean, I couldn't tell you what the story is for
Well,
free, like, because someone talked all the way
that's
through
someone
it.
being
But
yourself. It's just it's a running joke that me and Paul.
I said someone. I didn't
It's
say
just
who.
just eternal running joke that me and Paul played Dead Rising 3, I think, on every difficulty. We probably played it more than 5 times, even from start to finish. And Paul talked
Yeah.
through every single cutscene on multiple playthroughs, and I still have no
Hey,
idea what the
that's my
story is.
trick.
I mean, yeah, zombies bad
Yeah.
is probably enough of a take.
Yeah. Something to do with bees, I think, to be fair. I think
Yeah,
that's
it
the
is
story,
actually. It
genuinely.
actually is. That's like that sounds like you're
Yeah.
making some weird joke. Like
Ah.
it's something to do with bees.
Yeah,
I think it is. It's like
bees.
zombies. Hey, come on.
Hey!
No, but genuinely, like there is like some sort of like zombie
Yeah.
bee queen thing shit going on. Anyway, next bit of news. Let's
Oh my
move
God,
on from
what?
like Xbox fucking the bag. So ASOS or Asus, how do you say it? Asus, Asus.
Asus?
Asus.
Asus, the kind of computer brand, have made they're like gaming brands called ROG, or Republic of Gamers. They're making a handheld Steam competitor called the ROG Ally. It's just been announced. It's coming out in June. So the most expensive model of the Steam Deck is only £50 cheaper. So you pay £50 more for the ROG Ally, but the ROG Ally is like twice as powerful, essentially. But it
Okay.
also has a 1080p
Right.
screen and a 120 hertz screen versus the 720p and 60 hertz screen of the Steam Deck. So a lot of people are getting excited about that. Some people are saying it's not necessarily going to be like for like though, because Steam Deck uses its own like operating system because it uses like the Steam UI, whereas this is just going to run Windows. And as
Yeah.
a PC user, I can tell you, Windows is a fucking nightmare. So,
Yep.
So like, what are your
No,
thoughts
really?
and feelings on another handheld coming into the market? And do you think there's a space for it? I think it's going to be 700 quid.
I've got a Steam Deck. Wow, I've got a Steam Deck, and I got like the cheapest one
'Cause you're
because I'm
normal,
poor.
yeah.
I say that, but I've got a Steam Deck. But
It says that with
yeah,
all consoles, PC, and a
and
Steam Deck. Yeah, poor mate.
all consoles, PC,
Homeless.
4K monitors,
Yeah.
the lot. Yeah, homeless. I am
Hobo
homeless. I'm
podcast live
poor.
right now.
Yeah, that's it. I'd say I wouldn't get one, but even though I got the Steam Deck and I played it for like 3 weeks, and I know in my heart that I'd buy this and I would be the same. I'd never
You
touch
would
it
buy
again.
it.
I would probably get it just because it's like, but it's
Yeah, it
prettier
is.
than the one I've got, and it's
Yeah.
that's it. It'll play the same
It will
games and
play,
it'll play them slightly
exactly
better.
the same games. Play them slightly.
Yeah.
What people are saying though is that people
But-
are saying it's more comfortable in the hand, and the sticks are better apparently than the Steam Deck. Those are two of the things I've seen anyway.
Yeah, so that's two more reasons for us to buy it, even though I don't
Battery
need
life's
it.
not amazing. No.
You could be like,
I
well,
don't think battery life's too amazing. I
Yeah,
think you have to
you-
play it plugged in really to get the most out of it. It kind of defeats the purpose.
yeah, I mean, you have to
Yeah,
with a Steam
that's
Deck,
true.
to be fair. But yeah,
I was gonna say, I have to do
but
that
I
with
mean,
my Switch.
I'm like, yeah, I'm going to get all the survival horror games. I'm going to get the survival horror games and I'm going to play loads of them on it. And then I played a few for 3 weeks and I'm just like, yeah, but I just want to play on my console and have a big TV.
Yeah,
So
this is true.
that's it. I'll still get one though. I'm still going to get
Lottie
one.
plays the Switch.
I'm not going to lie. You'll probably get
but
one.
she hasn't played like a handheld PC. Just what would your thoughts be? Would that
No.
be something you think you'd ever be interested in?
Probably not. Like, I do love my Switch. I really do, and I play it. like I'll fully charge it and I'll play it till it dies, and I'll play it even longer plugged in. But I like to just play on my console. I'm not a massive PC gamer anyway, but I don't know, another handheld just doesn't interest us. I'd rather have a controller and play on the big screen.
Plus, I mean, the unique selling point of the Switch is obviously, well, I mean, this is going to really annoy Phil Spencer, but it's the Nintendo exclusives, isn't it? It's the exclusives that make the Switch so fucking good.
Yeah.
You know, so
Yeah.
I was just about to say he'll be rolling in his grave, but he hasn't died yet, has he?
no,
So
just in the eyes.
he
of the
will
fans.
eventually. Yeah, well, that's
He's
it.
dead to
But
it.
I mean, for me, the reason I got the Steam Deck, and this is absolutely stupid, is I wanted to play a game called Tormented Souls.
Okay.
It was already out on
Yeah, but you just
console.
wanted-
I had it. No,
Oh,
I'd
you'd
forgotten.
Oh,
I
yeah.
already bought it and paid for it. I was like, I want that game. It's like old school Silent Hill and Resident Evil. I want that. So I got it, downloaded it. I was like, I've played this.
Haven't I already completed that? All the achievements.
Yeah, so it cost us 400 quid to buy
You
a
already played.
game that I already had
that
and
sounds
finished.
like a really good
I had
experience
forgotten.
because your soul was tormented.
Yeah, it
Let's go.
was. But Tormented Souls is a really good game, to be fair. I don't know how I forgot it because
Yeah,
it's
but
just
enough to
class,
pay 400 quid for
But
it?
yeah, that's how my brain works.
You're talking to
No,
the guy
not that
thinking
much.
about
It's
the
not that
ROG
class.
Ally, though. You know, he's like,
Yeah,
never
yeah.
written about it.
What can I waste
I
me
could
money
play
on
Tormented
now?
Souls
I'm
on it
let's
with 30
save up for
extra
a car.
frames.
Nah.
That'll be the
So
conversation
speaking of
we'll
survival
have in
horror,
a few months' time.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Speaking of survival horror, I just thought, you might be interested in having a discussion about Resident Evil 4 because Lottie started playing it finally, and you
I
are
love it so
Paul being
much.
the biggest Resi
Yeah.
fan ever. So,
Yeah.
and I just wanted to thought, what do you think about
was
that?
garbage.
What do you think about
Oh my
the
God,
rumors
no.
of Resident Evil 9? And do you think?
I hate for change.
And do you think that outside
It's
of
not.
Resident Evil 9 rumors, do you think that they'll do 5 next, or do you think they'll go back and do 1? Or what do you hope? What do you want? What do you think of 4?
Well, right, 4 was amazing. I just said it was garbage
It's funny.
because I'm probably the only person who ever said it was garbage. It was funny. But yeah, I loved it. It was great. It's just Resident Evil, and those are my games. Even the bad games I've played every single Resident Evil game. I've got them on every single console. I've got all of them, and I play them over and over again. Resident Evil 4 cut out for me the worst parts of the original, so it made it a better game than the original for me personally. I think we're going to get some DLC in the Ada story, which I'm excited for. But I don't know how long they can keep making the Resident Evil games. Like, Chris is like 54 now. So if Resident Evil 9
fine.
comes
The Simpsons
out...
are like 1 million years old. It's fine.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, I know, but like in the canon, he's 54 and Jill's 45 and Leon's 39 or whatever. I've got wildly... So I think we need a reboot of the whole franchise. I think they need to start again with 1.
Yeah.
Don't get us wrong. I want Resident Evil 5 remade because I love Resident Evil 5. I love playing it in co-op.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a fun game. But I think they should go back to basics and get Resident Evil 1 in that engine.
I think that
over the shoulder.
Yeah.
But Resident Evil 9, I'm going to play it, but it's going to be at the point like, Rocky Balboa, where he's in the ring and he's 70 and he's fighting someone who's 23. It's going to be like, the villain's going to be like some young bloke, and it's going to be Chris like in a wheelchair, and it's just, we need new heroes now. I think we should have like a final story for all of these characters and then move on to new heroes. So I think they're not going to do that because these are massive staples of the Resident Evil franchise. So they need to just do a reboot and go back to the start. Because that, like, they've got Resident Evil 0, Resident Evil 1, Resident Evil Code Veronica. They can remake all of those and still have them in this universe. So that's what I want before a new Resident Evil, because like Chris is old as shit, and he's apparently the leader of some group in Resident Evil 9, and you're going to play as him and Claire Redfield.
I think they'll alternate. I think we'll get Resident Evil 9, and then we'll get 1. And then we'll get Resident Evil 10, and then we'll get, I don't know, Veronica or Zero or something. Do you know what I mean? Like, or 5,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, I think the logical step
Yeah,
would
and they
be
can-
5 next, but I just think the fans would prefer 1. I'd rather see 1 in the remake,
Definitely.
in the Ori engine,
Yeah.
rather than...
I mean, look at Resident Evil 2. I mean, when they remade that, how much money they made, because it was like the horror brought back. Like,
Yeah.
Resident Evil 4 is not really that
Yeah.
scary. Resident Evil 2, to me, was genuinely terrifying again.
Yeah.
Excuse me. And I think we need that again. And with the Resident Evil 0, Resident Evil 1, and Code Veronica, that horror is still there. So that's what I want. But they could remake 6, because 6 was just universally hated, except like a cult following.
Yeah, they
I don't
could
know why.
remake 6 and essentially
They
fix
could
a lot
remake
of the...
6 and make it, yeah, and just turn it into an actual good game with one story instead of like
Yeah.
4,
Yeah.
and make it a good game.
Yeah. Because, I mean, they fucked up, because that was the one where
But-
it was like that year where they were like, oh, yeah, we're trying to target the Call of Duty audience. And you're like, that's not who your
Yeah.
audience is.
Yeah.
It's not.
Know your audience.
I hated it, and I mean, I've played
I'm
them
a Call
all,
of Duty guy.
Resident
I mean,
Evil 6
I
is the
say that I
worst.
haven't played fucking Modern Warfare 2 since launch because it's garbage. But I've always been a Call of Duty, not always, but I've been a Call of Duty guy for a long time. And even I was just
Yeah.
like, that is... We didn't even finish 5, I don't
I genuinely
6, I don't
don't
think. I think we were bored.
Yeah, I don't even remember it. I think I've just blocked it from my
Yeah.
mind. What was the
Mhm.
storyline of 6?
Well, you just don't even want
It's
Which
it's
one?
Zombies.
co-op, but you play as
Zombies.
like,
Oh,
is it
okay.
4 different parents you play
Was
as or
it the
something like
break?
that?
Yeah, there's Leon. It was
Was it where you like?
Leon and Helena
Uh-huh.
had zombies, and then it was Chris and Piaz, and they had like
They had like a weird
the ones from
bromance
Resident
going
Evil
on, didn't they?
4 and 5.
Mhm.
Yeah, and then it was
Was it Ada and someone?
what's his name? Jake and Sherry, and they had like the monsters from Resident Evil 5,
Mhm.
and then it was Ada and like
Yeah.
some goon, and they
I
just
think, because
ran
I'm sure it
across
was like,
whole-
was it like there was
Oh, I
4
don't
different
remember
sets
at all.
and you played as each for a couple of hours? Because I'm sure me and Lottie only played
yeah,
like
10-hour campaign for each. For
I
each
think
2.
we only played like 2
so
of them.
Does
you
one
know
of
what I
them
mean?
involve a
40
little
hours,
girl
2
that
of them.
carries a
Yeah.
brick? Or one of them that's a
No, that's
pacifist and she doesn't
Revelations.
believe in guns?
No,
It's Revelations.
that's Resident
Oh,
Evil
okay.
Revelations.
Because I was really annoyed about that game because I just carried a brick
yeah,
for 10
2,
hours.
yeah, yeah.
I liked it actually because I was Barry and I was shooting everyone.
Yeah.
No,
Well,
it's
do you
I
know,
genuinely don't remember.
there's
6.
an alternate ending for that one. There's an alternate ending. Do you know the girl who doesn't want to
Yeah.
pick up the gun?
Yeah.
Like, if you don't pick up a gun as her in the last cutscene or something, or grab the gun, like
Mhm.
somebody dies. So it's basically saying to you, if you're anti-gun, somebody you
Yeah.
love's going to be murdered.
Yeah.
Like, that's
Yeah.
the message.
Brought to you
Like,
by the
well done,
NRA.
Capcom.
Like, let's go.
Yeah.
What's your opinion of Lottie?
I personally have loved 4. Like Paul said, it has gotten rid of a lot of the janky controls from the original. I had tried to replay the original not that long ago, and I think I lost my temper after maybe 15 minutes. And
Yeah.
I haven't quite finished 8 yet, but I have enjoyed it from what I've played because there is that horror and there's not that like the chase mechanism in it where you're being stalked for most of the game. I'm not interested in a 9 right now, but I would like to see a couple of the older ones remastered, especially 5 because there's a co-op game that is a really good game. I thoroughly enjoyed that. But like Chris said, like the heroes now are older. It's not as convincing that Chris Redfield can survive being chucked out of a window or chased by zombies half his age. We need like a bit of a rehash. And not an entirely new story. Like a
Yeah.
development of the story would be fine. Just I don't know. They need to just do better, I think. But I have really enjoyed 4 because it is an older storyline, but the controls and I made us scream a couple of times, and and I know that doesn't sound like a big thing for a horror gamer, but it's the hide in the cupboards for me. That got me quite a few times. But I have thoroughly loved how terrified I've been as I've been playing it.
Yeah. I think like they need a new protagonist because Ethan from Resident Evil 7 and 8,
Mhm.
I won't spoil anything, but like he was the most human of all of the characters. In Resident Evil 7, my biggest complaint was he had no personality.
Yeah.
So they give him one in Resident Evil 8 and it just made him all that better. Whereas Resident Evil 1 to 6, they just all become like these action heroes who can do backflips, and when in reality they were like scared, and the monsters were like stronger than them, and you felt like you could die. But now, like, Chris is punching boulders, and they've turned into
That's what I want
action
to
hero
see. I want to
meatheads,
see
and
one where it's like Chris and he's just crying over his messed up hands. Like he's just got arthritic hands
well,
from
that's it,
boulder punching. And now he has to fight zombies and has to figure out that.
I want a human protagonist. It's like that thing with Die Hard. Like Die Hard, as those movies went on, he became more superhuman. Like Die Hard 4, he fought a plane with a helicopter and survived. You don't want that in your movie and your game. You want survival horror. So it's like in Tormented Souls, which I'm going to have to keep talking about because I spent 400 quid to play it and I already played it. You play a young girl and all she's got to survive is a nail gun. And there's like these monsters can like rip out of shreds and stuff, and you feel that survival. But with Resident Evil 4, even as much as I love it, you shoot a person in the leg and then you just like spin kick them or backflip and pile driver them. Like I don't want that in my Resident Evil games anymore. I want it to be a survival horror, and that's what it needs to be.
I mean, it'd be quite interesting to see them do. You're just trying to think of. It's definitely delay. I think next time, like you need, and definitely not use Bluetooth head. You definitely not use Bluetooth headphones. I think because you've got like I don't know if it's like a 10 millisecond delay then for the whole conversation. But we'll figure it out. We'll get there in the end.
Yeah. I was trying to think of a survival horror game from what Paul was saying, and like where the person's quite human. And from what I played from The Evil Within and The Evil Within 2, that like because I think majority of that you just like the skulk around, or there's no superhuman element to the character that I've seen other than the very strange where you upgrade your character. But I do think with the Resident Evil franchise, they need to go back to that. They do need like the Ethan from 8, like you say, he's very human. I mean, he takes some punishment just in the first 20 minutes, and how he survives the rest of the game is beyond me. But I was like but that's what's good about it. Like he's bloody, he's battered. Some of the narrative's great, and I want to see more of that from the Resident Evil franchise. I want like the human element of it, because it's a lot scarier. Like you say, a 50-year-old bloke punching through a boulder, not scary. Like apparently zombies, you can just tear their heads off with these bare hands. But yeah, give us the
that's it.
The nerdy guy that can just cry.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's like with the Silent Hill 2 remake. Like I remember playing the Silent Hill games as a kid, and it was just a person put in a bad situation doing what they can to survive, or they had to find their loved ones. I think the first one was his kid, and the second one it's his wife. And like the remake of Silent Hill 2, that could literally like go massive. Do you know what I mean? Because I think people do want that in that survival horror games. They want a real person.
Yeah.
Like the character of James in Silent Hill 2. He's just a man looking for his wife. Now, obviously, I'm not going to go into spoilers for the game, but that's what you know going into the game. You're like, oh, he's looking for his wife, and he'll do anything to get to her, and you feel that. But with Resident Evil now, it's just like Wesker was like something out of the Matrix in Resident Evil 5.
Bullets and that.
But Chris could still punch him to death.
Yeah.
And it's just like we need some more grounded heroes.
I'd quite like them to.
I like Resident Evil, but Oh, well, definitely.
I'd quite like them to like not only do a remake in the RE engine, but if they were to do the kind of a remake of the story as well. So like, it's not just them doing what they did with 2, where they're like taking essentially what already exists and then just modernizing it. I wouldn't mind it being like, right, you've built it in the new engine, that's modernized it massively, but then also change the way characters are, like make like I say, make them more emotional, ground them a bit more, make them a bit weaker essentially, and like I say, more shocked by what's going on, disgusted by what's going on, you know what I mean? Like
you want to feel that fear from the character while you're playing, because I mean Resident Evil 7, a monster comes out of the wall and Ethan's response is, well, that's special. Like, no, mate, that's terrifying. It's not
the
special.
reaction is, what the fuck's coming out of the wall?
Yeah, like, what the fuck is reaction? But you get more of that from him in 8, so they actually listened. Because in 7, he did go through a lot. He had his hand cut off and all sorts. But in Resident Evil 8, he goes to like lose his fingers within the first 5 minutes, and you
Yep.
feel that. Do you know what I mean? And that's what they need. Resident Evil 8, like the story, it connects to 7, and I was like, that's amazing. They did a really good job. But they listened to the fans, and Capcom, I know you're watching this, so make more human characters.
I think for 9, I would very much like to see a new generation of like main characters go back to the mansion, and make it more human. Like you had Raccoon, was it Leon? I think it was Leon, who going through the mansion and all the like the puzzles and stuff. And yes, that's great, but again, some of the reactions were just not how you would react to a zombie just randomly jumping through the window, or like getting a puzzle wrong and stuff like that. I think 9 would do really well from like taking it, stripping it right back and making it just civilians going through this mansion that's overrun with just normal zombies, not being chased by a guy who can jump through a wall and rip your head off and not, can't do anything about it. Not that I'm bitter about that, but I did hate that mechanic, but and I will tell everybody how much I hate that mechanic. But yeah, I just think that for 9, just stripping it right back to basics and going back with that human terror, because ultimately that's why we play horror games. We want to be scared. We want to think like we're not personally in jeopardy, but you know what character is. I do think that would do really well for the franchise.
So moving on from
100%.
one bit of terror to probably the most terrifying thing ever for Paul is the Meg 2's just been announced. And they've dropped the trailer for that. Have you seen that trailer, Paul?
I've seen the Meg. I've seen the Meg.
Was that the scariest shit ever for you?
Yeah, it was scary as F.
So
but I was like, I want to watch it because I like Jason Statham's brand of terrible
like
acting.
average movies.
But like I know what it's going to be, but I've seen the trailer, and it looks like they're going back in time.
Well, it looks weird, doesn't it? Because it's just like
it started with the T-Rex, and then the Meg just jumps out the water and swims backwards with it in its mouth, which it can't do. Just putting it out there. And like then you see a man who's with Jason's team. I can't remember his character's name. Fighting the very same things that the T-Rex ate. So I think they're going to go back in time.
It's either they're going back in time, or there's like some new pocket that somehow has preserved loads of animals that obviously don't exist even more, because even like something even deeper than the Mariana Trench somehow. I love that because it's called the Trench as well, which I was really upset about because I think it should be called Meg 2: The Beginning. You know what I mean? The Meginning.
You'll have to say that again. The Meginning. Do you know what it is though? You've just wrote 3. Just wrote 3. Because at the end of the Meg 2, the Trench, Jason Statham's going to look directly into the camera and go, "We're going to have to go back to the Meginning," and it'll be like they'll go back in time, and then they'll fight the original Meg.
Amazing.
Alongside his original self. Do you know what I mean? That's road 3. So
I think 3 actually they're just replacing the shark with Meg from Family Guy. It's just going to be like splashing out the water.
Just shut up, Meg.
Like, oh god.
Yeah.
Fuck's sake,
I'm
Meg.
personally really excited for Meg 2. I think it's going to be trash. It's going to be ridiculous, and I'm so excited for it already. I loved the Meg, to be honest. I absolutely shit on it when it was in the cinemas, and then I did watch it, and I was like, "This is just great."
It's just a guilty pleasure, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just stupid fun. I've seen it twice, and I enjoyed it. I mean, obviously, when the shark's in the water, and it like I'm terrified, but like I don't know what it was about it, but when I was watching, I was like, "This is actually not as scary." But I think it's because it's not as serious. You know, like whereas Jaws. I don't think I could ever watch Jaws. I mean, because it's a serious movie. I don't know how well the shark will look now.
That really hits my heart.
We watched it.
We watched it in
movies. As I say, we watched it in 4K recently. It doesn't hold up great. It's still a great movie though, but it doesn't hold up.
But
okay.
It's not that scary.
I mean, maybe I'll do a reaction to it for Halloween or something, and I'll just be like with a pillow over my face the whole time it goes into the ocean. But yeah. The Meg 2 looks ridiculous, but I'm all for it. Even though I will be scared every time they go into the water, like I will be terrified.
You know what I kind of actually want, because they've done the Meg 2.
Jason Statham.
Oh, sorry. No, I was just gonna say what I actually do kind of want because of the Meg 2. I kind of want Rampage too, and even though Rampage was absolutely diabolically trash, I enjoyed it
Rampage
just as
was
much as the Meg.
absolutely garbage.
Yeah,
Like,
but I liked it,
Yeah.
and I just it's
Now the
like
Megs, but I mean,
I'd
it
rather
just
watch
kind of
Jason
feel
Statham
good
than The Rock.
trash.
Like,
yeah.
It
To
was
be fair,
it was
same.
the big ape for
Yeah,
me. I was
like,
absolutely in love.
yeah, I just don't like The
yeah,
Rock
same.
anymore.
He's in too
He's gotten to
much.
the point now, like with all this business with his contract and all that. Like, if he hits someone, like if someone hits him, he has to hit them back because you can't lose a fight because his fans don't want to see that.
It
That's
is.
bullshit.
It's
I
absolute
want to say that.
dodgy.
I
One
want
of
to
the
see him get
greatest
his
films
ass
ever
kicked.
is Die Hard, and yeah, and what's his name? John McClane struggles
Yeah.
through the whole of
That's
that
what makes that movie so
and it's
good. Is that he's on
amazing.
the back foot the
Oh,
entire
yeah.
movie.
Every step of the way. And he's like, no, my fans don't want to see me lose a fight. Like, fuck off.
Yeah, we do.
You're losing more and more fans with each film you put out, man.
Yeah, I want to see him put. I want to
Ridiculous.
put straight on his ass.
So next bit of news, Street Fighter 6 is getting an open beta. That's going to be next weekend, so the 19th of May. Notably, it's excluding PS4, which I think it might be they're just not planning to launch. So I think for me that was just like, is this the beginning of them backing off from the previous generation?
Mm-hmm.
Which I feel like should have happened a lot sooner, but because now we're in a
didn't
place
even
where you
realise that there
can
were 5
actually
of them,
get
to
a
be honest.
PS5. What, Street Fighter? Yeah, you're not a big Street Fighter.
No,
they're
just being weird about it, and they're just like, we're going to call this one 6, even though they've
you know
only
that
released
Street
4.
Fighter 2 came out when we were like freaking kids.
Yeah.
Like, fuck, they're on 6.
I mean,
really, they should be on about 16, shouldn't they?
Yeah, I played Street Fighter 4 a
Yeah.
lot. I really enjoyed that one. But then Street Fighter 5 had a lot of like microtransactions, so I was just like, as soon as I say that, I'm just like, I'm out. So, but I'm not hyped for 6 at all. I mean, I don't really play beat 'em up games anymore anyway. Me thumbs
You
are
are
too old.
pretty old, like.
Yeah, I am.
Yeah,
I've got golfer's
plenty of
elbow,
tension.
man, from all the work I do now. So I can't. Yeah, I can't game
I love
anymore.
that it's called golfer's elbow when like you would never catch you playing golf.
Never played. Like I've got this as me like thing to keep
Or
me elbow in
now
place.
you're giving the Rock shit, but you're wearing like his band. You're about to do the people's elbow on that.
The people's elbow. Yeah. Now this is so my arm doesn't fall off because I've
Pretty sure that's not what it does.
so much now. Yeah, no, it's not.
It could.
Medically speaking, that's not what it does. It just it I don't know. It does something. It stops me arm from hurting. So
Xbox is.
so yeah, I don't have
sorry?
I don't have the dexterity
Yeah,
or something to play beat 'em ups anymore. I'm too old.
Get you a fight stick, you know, like the old ones that mash the buttons.
Yeah, it's just
you have to put a quid in every time you want to play on that. Fuck's sake, man! Like, give us a quid, and then she'll happily give you the quid because she doesn't want to speak to you. Like, yes, leave us alone.
That is parenting, to be fair.
That is English 90s parenting. So Xbox's other big exclusive this year, or only other exclusive this year, is Bethesda's Starfield. So that's just been rated for microtransactions, which is getting a bit of a backlash for. But apparently it's like, if you have any kind of DLC or something, you have to be rated for microtransactions. So they're like saying, well, yeah, like if we would ever make DLC, we'll have to be rated for microtransactions.
Yeah, I mean that's fair enough. I mean, if it means we're going to get more of the game, that's always a good thing. If the game is good, you know what I mean.
I mean, similarly, but
I'm just not hyped.
What I was going to say, I forgot to mention in the Redfall section is like they'd already delayed Redfall, and I just feel like I don't feel like a delay is a bad thing. Like if a game's not ready, just delay it until it's ready, because I think it's really hard to come back from a poor launch versus being like you know versus just delaying for 6 months or more. Like, even if it's a case of like, look, we've really fucked up and it's not going to be ready for maybe even a year, I'd still rather than wait that year than it come out absolute garbage, because I'm not going to go back and play it if it comes out garbage. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So like,
yeah, I mean, or they could have just done a Scalebound and just deleted it from the computers and never ever released it. You know what I mean?
Pretend it never happened.
Yeah, just like that Redfall, it's not coming out anymore because it's pretty shit. We've played it internally, and even Phil Spencer hates it. So
I just don't know how people. I don't understand how people played it.
Did that game ever come out that they kept teasing and just never did? I was trying to remember the name.
That is the worst description of anything ever.
Yeah, no.
Oh, that one.
That
Scalebound.
Oh, I can't remember what it's called.
Yeah,
It'll come
no.
to us in a minute.
It got cancelled.
Did it actually get cancelled?
Fair enough.
Scalebound did, yeah.
So yeah, I'm saying though, I'm not really hyped for Starfield. So the Nintendo president, Shantara Furukawa, probably said that totally wrong, apparently says that there isn't a new Nintendo console on the cards until April 2024 at the earliest, which people are like obviously like thinking, you know, a new Switch or a sequel would have been sooner than that, especially considering like, you know, Zelda, the new Zelda's just come out, Tears of the Kingdom, which obviously is getting absolutely amazing reviews. But, you know, the last Zelda, Breath of the Wild, was 6 years ago. You know what I mean? It came out on the same console. Like, the hardware is showing its age. Do you think that the Switch, that we need a new Switch now? Do you think it's time? Do you think they'll do a Switch even? Do you think Nintendo will do what they always do and come out with a new console that you have no idea what to expect and it's completely different? Because this has been the best, most successful console they've ever had.
I mean, I see Nintendo as a child's console. I really do.
Yeah, Lottie.
Like, and I know it's not. I know it's
Rude.
not. Don't get us wrong. But I just Nintendo, just for me, I'm just like, no thanks. I don't care about Mario or Sonic anymore. Do they even have Sonic?
I mean,
no.
Sonic's just
Mario
Sega,
and Zelda.
but they've got Zelda.
Yeah, I've killed Lottie. But I just don't care about it anymore, so it doesn't affect me in any way. But I mean, let the kids have that new Nintendo.
You can block them if you want. There's the button to kick Paul out. But let the children, like
Paul has left the session.
Let the lesser mortals like Lottie just do what they like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let the peasants have that little shiny Mario, man.
Excuse me, Animal
Enjoy your
Crossing is one
plumber,
of the
do you know what I
best
mean?
games ever, for a start. Yeah, but I don't. I mean, I know that they're
You're not a real gamer if you play Animal Crossing. Sorry,
Yeah,
I just went
you
all
go
there.
fishing. You fish, you chop down trees. It's great.
Only
and I
real
love
men
it.
fish on
It's-
Switch.
Yeah.
I do
Wow.
think it is very much a childlike console. It's not. I don't think I've ever been stressed playing on Nintendo. It's definitely just like a chill time. Yeah, like I'm currently playing Kirby. Like I'm so happy. It's just like it's a very nostalgic game, especially where Mario's concerned. Do I think they need another one?
I agree. Paul is
Absolutely not.
intolerant.
Yeah.
I'm just baiting, to be honest.
Stare in the pot.
I don't think like we've got a Switch for Lily.
Yeah, because she's a child.
And she played it for a couple of weeks because she's a child. That's it. Yeah, because she's a child, and she's an idiot.
Yeah.
No, we got it, but she never played it. You know what I mean? I mean, she plays the Xbox now because she's a legend. She plays a proper adult's console because she's not a child. No, but no, I'm not really bothered. I mean, I'll never ever buy a Nintendo to be my main console. You know what I mean? Unless they get all the same games as everything else.
I mean, I'd agree. It's a completely different market, isn't it? It's not aimed at the hardcore console gamer. It's more aimed towards the casual. And obviously, they are very child focused, but that's also like it's still fine. I still think that more adults than you could ever imagine are living their best life on the new Zelda this weekend or this week onwards. I mean, the reviews speak for themselves. It's probably like the best reviewed Nintendo game in a long time, and Nintendo normally review really well anyway. But I mean, like I think I've seen maybe one negative review, and I feel like it was just someone just like willfully being extra to be like, yeah, I don't like it because it's not for me. It's like, okay, doesn't mean it's bad.
I'm still upset at Breath of the Wild, so
well, no,
you not like Tears of the Kingdom because you didn't really like Breath of the Wild, which is weird because you love almost every other Zelda game.
Yeah, I think it's because for me the open world of Breath of the Wild is very much I like the classic kind of things like the old style Pokemon and stuff like that. I think for the Breath of the Wild type games, like the open world, I want to play that on console. The Nintendo Switch controller, this might just be me, but the controls aren't very they're not great for combat. especially that kind of combat. Whereas just bashing the B button to just randomly stab with one direction of a sword that you get on the older style Zeldas. I think like Link's Awakening was one of my favorite games. I just don't think
Yeah.
the Switch, for me personally, is designed for that kind of combat that you would usually get on a console. But I'm also just
That's
a really
fair enough.
casual
I
gamer,
can't
so it's
comment
probably
because
just me.
I haven't.
Yeah,
I
I
can't comment
can't
because I
because
haven't played it. Like Lottie has a Switch, and I'm
I've never
welcome to play
played a
it, but
Zelda game ever.
I've just never done it.
Yeah.
I think I may have played
Yeah.
once, and for me, obviously, just not being a child and small, because obviously it's a console for small children. This is just what Paul.
Rude.
Like for me, though,
Rude.
genuinely, the thumbsticks were like really low and small. Like I would quite like, like the
Yeah.
extenders that you get on like Control Freaks. I'd quite like them. I think I'd probably have a better experience with taller sticks. You know what I mean? Probably like a Steam Deck's probably better for me, just because of me massive man hands. I don't even have that big hands sometimes. So moving on with
I don't have that
movie
problem.
news, because otherwise we'll just go down this hole of Paul shitting on Switch for 20 years. Beetlejuice 2 has finally
It's
been
true.
announced. It's like, what, 20 years later?
I'm
And
so
it's
excited.
like a
Actually,
restore, I guess. Michael Keaton's back. Winona Ryder's back. Willem Dafoe rather is confirmed, and so is Jenna Ortega, who played Wednesday Addams. And she's going to play
fantastic.
Lydia's daughter.
Amazing.
Right. But can I just say this now?
Doesn't need to happen.
I don't want to ruin anyone's expectations, and I'm just an idiot from Newcastle, so I mean,
We're
it
all
means
idiots.
nothing. When was the last good movie by that guy whose name
Tim
I'm
Burton.
forgetting?
Is it Tim Burton?
Tim Burton. When was his last great movie?
Yeah. I mean, you could say that about everything, though, couldn't you? Like when like there's no modern equivalent to someone who was good. Well, there's not none, but like almost no one was fucking amazing. Well, yeah, I'd say there'll be like one or two, but like there's hardly anyone who was good fucking 20, 30 years ago and is like still shit hot now.
Steven Spielberg?
Is Steven Spielberg still shit hot now?
Yeah,
Do you think?
I think everybody has their duds, to be honest.
A lot of directors, Spielberg.
What's recent Steven Spielberg?
I mean, everyone has their duds, but no, that can not, to be fair. That movie where you in a million different video games.
Some shit.
Ready Player One. Was that
right,
him?
Yeah. That was all right.
Didn't
Yeah. Well, I think it's fair enough. But Beetlejuice is so good, right? That everyone talks about the character of Beetlejuice. He's the star of the film. He's only in that movie for like 13 minutes, but he's so good in that movie that that's what you talk about. Now, if I say his name one more time, he's going to appear. That's just a rule, so I'll avoid saying it. So I have to be careful. But that guy,
that dude,
yeah, he was so good in the first one, yeah, that they're just going to make him in the second one just be in every scene. I think they're just going to overplay it. And now, don't get us wrong, Michael Keaton is phenomenal. I think he's a brilliant actor. But I don't want them to sully the memory of the first
problem,
one.
Is that, and that's exactly what they're going to do. They're going to sully the memory for money.
Because that's what they do. Look at the Terminator franchise, the first two. The first one was a great slasher kind of feel. Second one was just an amazing action movie. No, every single one is just diminishing returns. They're just garbage. I don't need Beetlejuice 5. Do you know what I mean? Like, leave it.
It's like Arnold Schwarzenegger.
I've said his name 5 times.
It's like Arnold Schwarzenegger doing stuff now. I don't want to see 70-year-old Arnold Schwarzenegger in an action role. Like, he's doing some TV series for Netflix called Fubar. It looks garbage.
Yeah.
It looks absolute garbage. I don't want to see it. Like, there's a point where, like we're talking about, like, shit films. Like, for example, we just watched the Final Destination films again this week. They're, like, bad. They are objectively bad, but they're so bad, like, I find enjoyment from them. You know what I mean? Like, they're so bad, they're good. I enjoy that. There's no enjoyment to be had for some of this shit. So, like, for me, like, Fubar, like, I wouldn't even give it a chance. Like, it's just got, like, I've watched the trailer, and I'm like, nah, that's not for me. That doesn't even look like garbage good. It just looks
looks absolute garbage, and not in the best way. Like, you know how much I love Sly. Like, I love all the Rocky movies, all the Rambos. I'll watch pretty much anything he's in, but they're making Cliffhanger 2.
So Cliffhanger 2 still hanging.
Do they have a stair lift on them?
Still hanging.
Do you know what I mean? Like, he's again like Arnie. He's in his 70s. Like, he's made a gangster show called Tulsa King. Great. Yeah. There's very limited like action. Like, there's violence, but it's good. he's playing an older gentleman. He's accepted that. And then it's like a couple of weeks down the line, we'll do an Expendables 4 and Cliffhanger 2. Like, come on. Like, don't get us wrong. I love the Expendables movies. They're stupid action movies, like an ode to the 80s, the movies that I loved. But he's not going to be able to hang from a cliff in this second one. Do you know what I mean? In Cliffhanger 2.
While he's holding himself up. I mean,
he's going to have a stair lift that goes up the mountain. That's what he's going to need.
He's on the side of the stair lift.
Yeah.
I'm falling again.
I'll be there in about an hour. Yeah. Like, come on. Like, play roles suited for your for your age. Do you know what I mean? Like 74 playing like an action hero. It's just, I just think it's ridiculous
like,
now.
The antithesis to that would be like Expendables was like garbage good. Do you know what I mean? Like that was good.
Yeah.
Like that's the kind of point where it's like, all right, that's cheesy, but I'm on board with that. I'm like, I'm having a good time.
Yeah, because you know what it is.
But then there's just
because it's like we're poking fun at ourselves.
Yeah.
Because they took themselves so seriously in the 80s and the 90s with the one-liners. Like, don't get us wrong, I love them for what they were, but now looking back on it, that's terribly cheesy. But like they're poking fun at that. But Cliffhanger was a serious action movie, and Cliffhanger 2 is going to be what I assume is going to be the same. It's just like just play different roles now. Like the Tulsa King show, really good. There's like 9 episodes, and I enjoyed every single one. There's elements of comedy, there's violence, but it's not like unbelievable where he's like jumping over cars and like breaking necks and shit. He's like an old gangster who's moved to a new town to start up a new crime syndicate because he was kicked out of the family or what have you. And he even says, you know, I'm an old man now. I have to do things differently. And they do that really well. I'm just not excited for old person action movies or classic movies that are going to get destroyed because they want to. Jenna Ortega is Beetlejuice's sister or whatever. She's going to play. Like, she was great in Wednesday, don't get us wrong. But I don't need her in everything. She's in everything. It is so funny
when someone gets like, it's like pure typecasting where it's like she's the alternative girl now. So now every role that needs an alternative girl, are like, oh, fucking hell, get fucking Jenna Ortega on the blower because...
Yeah, let's get her on the blower, yeah. And I don't need it. Like, little and often, do you know what I mean? We don't need another The Rock. Like, I can't stand the guy anymore. I used to be like, oh, there's a movie coming out with The Rock. Yeah. Great. Now I'm just like, well, I'm not going to see that. Like, they're doing a live remake of Moana, and he's going to play, like, that person he played in Moana. I don't care.
On his knees.
Yeah, he's doing all the roles just in case he loses. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that sounds about right. I mean...
I'm just not about it.
For me, Beetlejuice 2...
Give us new movies. I'm an angry old man.
You are. You're such an angry old man. Like, for me, like, I think Tim Burton knocked it out of the park with Wednesday, so I'm really excited for Beetlejuice 2. Do I think it's going to live up to the hype of, you know, Beetlejuice 1? Absolutely not. It's, like, for me, Beetlejuice 1 is it's nostalgic. It's from my childhood. I absolutely love it. I think that Beetlejuice 2 will be a good time. It's been, like you say, they've got Winona Ryder back. It's always going to be a good time with her. But do we need it? Probably not. Am I going to watch the absolute shit out of it? Absolutely.
It's just the milk.
Yeah, I mean, I'm more cynical now. I just hate everything now. Everything gaming. I fell out of love with movies. I bought Ambulance, a Michael Bay movie. Now I knew what to expect with Michael Bay. It was £8. That was £8 wasted.
Yeah, I'm not watching that.
£8 wasted, man. Jake Gyllenhaal's in that. He's a good actor.
It almost got us because of Jake Gyllenhaal. I was like, Jake Gyllenhaal, let's go. I loved it. Donnie Darko, one of my favorite films. I'm just like, Jake Gyllenhaal, all right, I'm in. And then I was like, I watched the trailer. I was like, oh, I'm out. Like, oh, he did it for the money.
But I didn't even watch the trailer. It was like 2 for £8, so it was less than £8 I paid in Asda, and I'm getting like a Blu-ray collection built. And I thought, I'll get that. I'll have a look. But like Michael Bay was like, well, we're using a drone to shoot this film, so we can do things that we could. I don't know why he speaks.
This
like
is what I mean about people falling off. Though. Like Michael Bay used to make good films and doesn't make good films now.
Yeah, The Rock
his name
great.
is not worth mentioning now.
The film.
I'm not saying he's like garbage, like in general, but like it's just it's that thing of, you know, like. I don't know how you can quantify it exactly, because obviously there's outliers like Quentin Tarantino, but I feel like most people, when they become mega millionaires, they just fall off. Like, you just, because they don't have the hunger anymore.
Like, do you know Edgar Wright? Do you know how he does like transition shots for like places? So like in I can't remember the name, not Shaun of the Dead, the other one, Hot Fuzz, like where he goes from like the city to the little town, and it's like the train goes by and it's cool and like Michael Bay has transition shots, but what he literally does is he goes up one side of a building, on the top of it, down it, and along a road up and down to transition
He's
to the
getting
next
his money
shop.
worth out that drone,
it's
which is
just-
his new toy, clearly.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. He's got a new toy, so he wants to just do whatever he wants with it. And I was just watching it, angry. Like, I love action movies, and Jake Gyllenhaal is a really good actor. And like, don't get us wrong, he's great in it when the camera's still enough for him to say something. But
Yeah.
I hate everything
Yeah.
now. Everything, I hate it. So I'm
It's
just going to be
just
the
they
angry person
have
on
to
the
milk
podcast.
everything, so they're just like something that came out 30 years ago and did well. They've got we're doing Fight Club 2 now, guys. It's Fight Club 2 now.
Why?
Now
Yeah.
the first rule of Fight Club 2 is
God.
you definitely talk about it. Like that. I mean, they're not, but
Yeah.
that's what it is. It's like, what 30-year-old property or
Exactly.
like 20-year-old property can we cash in on? I mean, it's a kind of sidestep to like a modern version of that. Just other news is obviously Walking Dead City series is going to premiere on June 18th.
Oh,
Another
Christ.
fucking Walking Dead, and like this is the same thing. I'm just like, they're milking into the ground. Like, does anyone want that? Does anyone want more
No.
Walking
No.
Dead? Really?
Nope.
It's like a sidestep.
No,
Like,
not
at all.
is this, what was the? There was already a spin-off. So what's this one? The third spin-off.
Fear the Walking Dead is the
and now there's
spin-off.
another.
And then there's Dead City, and then there's the one with Daryl, and then there's the Rick and Michonne one, and then there's Tales from the Walking Dead season 2.
But why
So
though?
yeah, I mean, let's just milk this cash cow.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah.
It's just milking, isn't it? And it's like at that point, like
It is.
the thing is it's a double-edged sword because it's not coming to mind right now, but there probably is a remake that is like from a franchise 20 years old that I enjoyed, but 9 times out of 10 it's just you've just spoiled the memory. Like I'm
Evil
like, I
Dead.
love the first one. Don't talk about the second one. Oh yeah, New Evil Dead. It's getting absolute fucking. That's doing really well, isn't it? Evil Dead Rise just made
great.
100 million at the box office, so that's a good example of
I'm so
like bringing the
excited. I can't wait
franchise
to
back.
say that.
I thought Lottie said she didn't like it.
No, she's talking about like
Oh
that being an
no, it's one
example
of my
of like
favorite films.
a one.
I love it. Love the new one.
Yeah.
So we haven't seen it
Fantastic.
yet.
I think it was
From the
really well
second
done.
it starts. Yeah, there was like 3 little things I had an issue with, but for the Evil
What
Dead
were
franchise,
they?
like I love all of those movies.
What were your issues?
Have
We
you
haven't
seen
seen
it?
we haven't seen the new one. She's talking about
Not Evil Dead
the
Rise?
original.
Oh well, I
remake.
won't.
I
she's
thought
talking-
I thought you had issues with.
Oh
the
no, I'm
original.
talking about Evil Dead Rise.
Oh no, I haven't seen it yet.
No, God no. No, right. Well, I won't tell you. But when
No,
you
you will
see
not.
that, we can talk about
Scream's
that.
a
But
good one,
yeah,
actually.
Evil Dead
Scream's
Rise.
quite good. Like the new Screams, they're not too shit.
I really enjoyed
Yeah.
them.
No, yeah, there hasn't been a bad Scream movie. Like 3 is
Yeah.
the worst, but it's still
Yeah.
still decent enough. But again, it's when you Jenna
Mhm.
Ortega, that none of those people, like I knew who the killers were because it was never going to be those people.
Yeah.
Because it's Jenna Ortega being the killer. They'd have to do that in the last one because if they killed
They
her in
kinda
this
use her
one,
again, yeah.
she's not in the next one, and people.
That was the
Yeah.
problem with The
So I
Walking Dead
think
is like
that-
the main characters
Yeah.
were never going to die
Well, that's it.
because they're the bread and butter of
I
the show.
think for Scream 9, is it 9, 8, whatever
It'll be
it is.
7 next.
I think 7 is it. Yeah, Scream 7. If it's the end of this trilogy, I think they'll put Jenna Ortega as the
Yeah.
killer. I genuinely do, because then it's the end of the trilogy. She's dead.
Yeah.
They can't do any more with her anyway. So, but like when do you know how they do that moment where they're like, well, we're in a movie and they're the new people, so they have to be the killer. I was like, yeah, they are
Mhm.
guaranteed. And I
Yeah.
was right. I was right. And then the policeman, when he says to one of them, he's like, yeah, you fuck anyone up because they killed your kid. And then I was like, well, so he's the killer then. And then the big reveal, I was like, yeah, I knew it. It just wasn't. Everyone's like, it's totally
Yeah,
new, and I was
it's-
like,
yeah,
nah,
it's
it's not. It's Scream.
Well,
I
just
like
from the
I
side
like Scream
step
because
of
it
like,
does follow the tropes, and the new ones follow the same like old horror film
Yeah.
tropes of but in a new
Yeah.
way. But I have really enjoyed them. I do know what you mean about Jenna Ortega being in everything, but I do think in the Scream movies she does really well, especially because it focuses more on her and her sister rather than just Sydney Prescott dynamic. So I do quite like having the 2 final girls there.
yeah,
But like you say, it's a case of they're in peril, but they're not going to kill them off anytime soon because they're the final girls. But
Yeah,
maybe in the
well,
next
that's it.
one,
like
one
I
or
don't
both
think
will
the
get it.
issue is Jenna
That's it.
Ortega. Like
No, I
it's
love
not.
Jenna
It's not
Ortega.
her.
It's the issue.
Definitely
it's
not. I
the-
think she's a good
it's
actor.
the issue, and what I agree with is the issue is she's become the alternate goth girl. So every role that
Yeah.
needs an alternate goth girl. I'm not saying she doesn't act well. I'm not saying she doesn't add a lot to some of those roles. It's just quite funny that like there's like there's 6 million like blonde pretty women, and then there's like 2 alternative women who for like and it happens every, you can almost say in every like 10 years of films and TV. There's like 5 alternative people who just do all the alternative roles for 10 years. Then somebody else takes over that spot, and them new people do all the alternative roles.
Winona Ryder, Aubrey Plaza. She's like, that's what she is. She's for this generation.
What was the last in the craft? Is it Firuza Balk or something like that? It was just like that was in the 90s. Like she was just the alternate girl, and like, you know what I mean. That's what happens. Is just like for some reason they can only hire like fucking 5 alternate girls, and then everyone else must be fucking classically attractive.
She is a good actress. Like Wednesday, I had no interest in that, and then I watched the first episode, and there was just something off about her the whole time, and I thought really, really good. But I don't know if you've noticed, but she doesn't blink. You never ever see her blink. And I think that was really cool, because that's what makes you feel like there's something off about her. And I thought, she did a good job. But I don't need her in everything, to be fair. Like, I'm not excited for Beetlejuice for that reason. So just to go back to that point that we were talking about 40 minutes ago.
I think
I just don't want new things. I want old things just done better.
So our last bit of news is, and it's quite in the similar vein, really, is like it's that time of year where like all the TV shows that haven't been performing very well are getting cancelled. I just thought it'd be notable to talk about with you two, because you two are such hardcore Supernatural fans. You know, like earlier in the episode when you corrected us for like 15 seasons over 13. so like the Winchesters, like have you watched the Winchesters? It's been cancelled regardless.
I have.
But like opinions and like, what do you think about it's the same thing, isn't it? It's a spin-off that just didn't need to happen, isn't it?
I don't care. Yeah.
I'm a massive Supernatural fan.
They should have done John and Bobby.
Oh yes.
Well, playing cattle with Lotty, but
sorry.
I'm not trying to interrupt Lotty. It's just
it's just
times, and it might seem like I'm interrupting. Yeah, I'm not trying to do that. Yeah. So I'll let Lotty say what she needs to say, and then I'll.
As a massive Supernatural fan, I did not watch the Winchesters. I have no interest in it. I just didn't need it. Like, there are so many more interesting characters from the Supernatural franchise without bringing us the parent storyline, but then not really. Even just from the trailers or the snips that I've seen, it's not my Supernatural. So I had absolutely no interest in watching the first series and could not care less that it's been cancelled. However, I do know just from scrolling online that there's this massive thing about saving it. So watch this space. It wouldn't surprise us if they somehow managed to drag it from the depths for season 2.
Yeah. Well, I think personally it's a publicity stunt, because Jensen has signed a deal with Amazon.
Okay.
To have all of his shows, all his new shows over there. So I think he said to the CW, right, cancel it. We'll get a big rally going. We'll build hype for it. And then they're going to put it on Amazon. I might be wrong. It might just be like it's getting cancelled. But to be fair, it was garbage. Like it didn't have the heart of Supernatural. Now, I watched it because I like you say, I'm a massive Supernatural fan. I love that show. I rewatch it all of the time. I know back to front. But I'm going to spoil it, but you just don't care.
I don't care.
It's an alternate universe. Like season 15, Chuck like said, there's alternate universes, blah, 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 blah. So this is another one before Sam and Dean were born. Okay. So Dean dies at the end of season 15, and this is set before Sam dies. So do you know how in the period between Dean dying and then Sam dying, it's set between that period, so that's why Sam's not around.
Okay.
So Dean goes back in time and gives John like information so they can fight the demons and blah 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 blah. But it just doesn't work. It's set in an alternate universe, so they take liberties with like demons. Demons now speak in a weird voice, and they've still got the black eyes and the smoke and all that, but they're speaking a weird voice. But it always was like, because of probably budgetary reasons, all the monsters were human with like like long claws for werewolves or teeth. But with this, that there's like we had spider monsters and the CGI is actual garbage.
Of course it is.
So it takes you out of it. The supernatural story, although there was fantasy elements, was the human connection those two brothers had. It was them two against the world. But there's 4 or 5 main characters in this show, and each one of them has literally zero personality whatsoever. That goal is to save people, which was Sam and Dean's goal. But there was more to it than that. It was like they had a story, whereas these are just like, well, I'm Mary Winchester, Mary Campbell, and I'm John Winchester, and I was at war. Like that's his story. I went to war. Like, okay, elaborate on that. Well, no, I don't want to talk about it. So they kill monsters each week, but you get no backstory for these people,
right?
And then you get like a cameo from, like, say, the Trickster. He's in an episode, and I'm like, oh, cool, that'll be good. But it's just not. It's just soulless. So if they do bring it back, they need to do something different to what they're doing now, because it doesn't work. Like I said, a John and Bobby series would work better, personally. And it's because it's not really done anymore. Like 2 male leads. Like Sam and Dean carried that show for 15 years.
Yeah.
Like, for this, it's like the Scooby Gang or whatever you want to call it, like Buffy. But Buffy did it so much better.
Yeah.
With this, it's just absolute garbage. You don't care about anyone. John they're not bad actors, but they just don't portray those characters like we know from like Supernatural.
Well, for me,
in any
it's
way.
the same as like Wayward
It's just
Sisters.
garbage.
That looked like it was going to be really good. I would have been more likely to watch Wayward Sisters, if it had had more than the pilot, I think. But yeah, like I think it's very hard to redo what Supernatural did for those 15 seasons. I would absolutely have loved a John, Bobby, and Rufus, don't forget the Rufus, series. Or even like anything with Castiel. Like it was the connection that the cast had and that they built over those 15 series that made Supernatural what it was. And I would much rather rewatch and have done all 15 seasons again than sit through one series of the Winchesters with a bunch of characters I literally could not care less about.
Because they don't do those characters justice in any way. Like, don't get us wrong, Mary I ended up hating in Supernatural. But this Mary is so wildly disconnected from that Mary. And it's the same with John. Like, when John came back from the war, he was having a hard time dealing with that. And then the loss of his wife in the original show, that is Supernatural. But when he's come back from war, and he's just like this charming guy who wants to sleep with Mary. That's his personality. Like, give us a bit of backstory. What happened? Like, there was one episode where like a monster was killing warriors, so it went after John because he was in the war. And like he was like, yeah, I was in war and I was really good at it. Like I did loads of murders and I don't have PTSD. Yeah, and that was it. Like, unless I'm missing something, like, where's the traumatic story? Like, Dean was raised by an abusive father, and like, so was Sam. Like, where's this abusive father? Then I'm not seeing it. And people are like, well, it's an alternate reality, but it's the same people just in a different world.
Yeah,
that's what Chuck said.
That was the whole
He created them exactly the same to see how they do it differently.
Yeah, that was the whole thing with Supernatural, was like John figuring his shit out, raising 2 kids in a world that he just found out about because he didn't know that Mary was a hunter previously.
Yeah.
And that was the whole backstory of Supernatural, is that it was John. Yeah, he ended up being an abusive father because he had so much to deal with, not excusing it, but that, like, figuring shit out. And that's what they do for a lot of the seasons. In the first few seasons, there's things that they've never heard about. There's like demons that John's only really heard about in theory or has come across once. Like, that was the whole point of Supernatural, was like basically 15 seasons of just figuring out shit. Like, yeah, I'm not a fan that like John is now miraculously a hunter. Like, does that mean that if that progressed for 15 seasons and they had Sam and Dean, are they going to be men of letters? Because that got chucked in later on, in like down the line.
I think the problem for you guys,
to me, it just makes no sense.
I think the problem for you guys is like hardcore fans, and I think it's, you see it in like other like franchises. I think like it happens with like The Witcher, where they did the Witcher TV show, and like even Henry Cavill's not happy about it because the people who writing it are like, I didn't read the books. I'm not going to read the books. So I'm not going to stick to the books. And then it's the same stuff of like the people writing this now aren't the original writers, because I mean, was it the
Yeah.
original writers who wrote the first 5 seasons, and then it was like new writers thereafter? So it's like,
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was. Yeah, Eric Kripke
Yeah,
was
so
in
that
charge
guy's
through
gone.
seasons 1 to 5, and he had
so
me
that
off.
guy's
Yeah.
gone, and I'm not saying that everything beyond that point was shit, because obviously you will know better than me. But I imagine the people who wrote all the seasons they're on, or the team who wrote like the seasons you love they're on, they probably didn't write this show either. So like the people who are writing
Yeah.
this show, it's like, are they people who are like hardcore fans? Have they watched like all 15 seasons multiple times and love it, or they're just the people
Probably
who are
not.
hired to write
mean-
a series of fucking Supernatural?
Yeah, I mean, me and Lottie could probably write a
That's
better
the
show
thing.
than the
That's who
Winchesters,
should be-
and we're not even
that's who you
writers.
should be getting, though.
Well,
Yeah,
And that's probably not who
To be
wrote it. Probably who
honest-
wrote it was the guy who was available at that time, who can
Yeah.
write a show in a month. Do you know
to be
what I
honest,
mean?
we're getting some sort
And
of
that's the
different
kind of
dynamic
problem with
because
modern
they're all
TV.
showing up in The Boys anyway. So, because I think it's Eric Kripke that writes The Boys, and he's
Yeah.
basically
Oh,
getting
well,
all
yeah.
of the cast. So we
It is,
don't
yeah.
need Winchesters. We'll just keep watching The Boys because that show is absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah.
we'll watch The Boys. Yeah, because Jeffrey Dean Morgan's going to be
Yeah.
on that
Yeah.
the new season, and The Boys is
is, yeah.
great. It really is. I love The
it so
Boys,
much.
and Jensen was great as Soldier Boy. He was really good. But I mean, I think that if they do get a second season of the Winchesters, I think they should just treat it as a soft reboot and give the characters some heart and
Yeah.
actually have good stories, because so
Yeah.
far it's just like season 1 of Supernatural was Monsters of the Week, and I would say from
love that.
episode 1 to episode 9, like it was great, but
Mhm.
there was something missing for me, and I was just like, because at the end of every episode, Dean kind of kissed the girl, and he was the cool bloke, and I was like, yeah, all right, it's just one of those shows. But in episode 9 of that show, he phones his dad, and he's like, Dad, I'm scared.
Mhm.
Like, that's a human moment. Give me that.
Yeah.
Like the tough guy who's like Han Solo of this had to go home to fight a monster in his old home, and he rings his dad, this abusive man who's never been around for him, and he calls him up, hides from Sam. He's like, Dad, I'm really scared. Can you please help? And he doesn't turn up, and that's a human moment. And it took me from episode 1, I was like, this is just some like action hero show, and I was like, wow, he showed vulnerability, he showed emotion,
Mhm.
and it totally changed how I looked at Supernatural, and they kept that going.
Kept that, yeah.
But with the Winchesters, it's just like, yeah, like war. Yeah, I was in a war. I was good at it though. Like, no, where's the character moments? Where's the I'm sad. I was made to fight a war I didn't want
Yeah.
to fight, and then I've come home to fight another war that I didn't want to be a part of because I've lost my wife, or I think it's his dad in this one. Like his dad disappeared because of monsters, or it's what's her name? Mary's dad's disappeared because of monsters, or whatever. But there's no heart to it. It's just all action
Yeah.
and then light comedy moments, and it's missing the mark of Supernatural.
Yeah. 'cause
And I know it's boring for Ben. He's just sitting there just nodding like it. But
It's
like,
I'm just listening.
I could literally talk about Supernatural for
I
like
brought it up
14
specifically
hours.
because
Oh,
I
straight.
knew
God,
I'd
yeah.
get loads out of you.
No, I know. I'm just joking. I'm just joking. I know you're not bored. But I'm just saying I could. It's my way of saying I need to stop talking about it because we're not going to be able to talk about anything else.
Oh,
unless-
no,
It's the last
like,
bit of news.
I do
anyway.
agree.
What?
I agree
Is it?
that
Oh, so he has 5 more hours.
I do agree that
It was just like,
that
what
human
did-
element of Supernatural. No. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, go ahead.
No, I disagree with that human element of Supernatural. Like you get to know the characters, and yeah, Dean's a bit of a womanizer. He becomes less so later on, but you know, Sammy's a wimp. But then it's the human, like the constantly fighting to keep each other alive, whether sometimes that's a good idea or not. Like they feel the losses, they remember the
Yeah.
people that they've come across, that they've helped, that they've saved, that they've lost. And that was the whole point of, like, we've got 15 seasons of that, of building this literally like this family, because of the family that they didn't originally have. But then from the sounds of the Winchesters, it's just like, right, we're gonna chuck 5 people together and hope it works.
Yeah, that's it. And like, don't get us wrong. Like, I don't have an issue with the actors at all. They're doing what they're told to do.
Yeah.
But like, Jensen is like he's in control of the show, really, because
Yeah.
it's his show. So is he not watching it back, going, well, they're missing the element that Supernatural had? Like, is he not supervising it at all? I just don't
Probably not.
understand
Is
the logic in it.
Jensen
Like,
a hardcore
create
fan though? Like, or is he just the actor? Do you know what I mean? I don't know as much as you guys because you probably have seen a lot
I mean,
more.
I don't know. I mean, to
'Cause, like,
him,
you just think,
I mean, the way I see it is like the creators of Supernatural, like even at season 15, they didn't end the show. Jared and Jensen
Yeah.
ended the show. They both came together and said, "Look, we'll say 15 seasons and we'll end it there." Like, I think if they didn't agree to end it there, it would still be
oh
going
god,
on now.
it's a money
I
maker,
think it
isn't
would
it?
go, yeah, yeah. Well, it was a moneymaker, but Jensen and Jared loved those characters, and they'd
Mhm.
even say to the writers, well, Dean wouldn't do that, or Sam wouldn't do that, or they change lines and stuff. And I'm not
I
saying
mean,
like that should be what they're doing, but they were so invested in that character. Like, is he not looking at this show? And I mean, it's probably
correct
just a
us if I'm
paycheck
wrong,
for
but
him
like,
now.
didn't he not include the guy who plays Sam? Wasn't that like a big thing where like he knew now about the show and it was announced or something like that?
Yeah.
So like for
Because
me,
it's a
that
project with
makes
his
me
wife.
kind of think. But still,
Yeah.
but you like, obviously I'm not the hardcore fan user, but for me personally, I think that's insane. Like, I personally think like Sam
it's
is as much the show as anyone
annoyed me,
else.
yeah.
So like to me, that
Yeah.
that kind of like feels like that's the mood for the show straight away, because it's like, well, if you don't
Yeah.
love Sam and you would want to include Sam in the show, like if like
Yeah.
to do it
Well,
without
I
him
mean,
just seems like, oh, this was always going to
the
fail.
logic, like, yeah, the logic in the story wise is Sam's still alive, and there's the monsters are called the Accreta, and that's Chuck's failsafe. If Chuck ended up dying, the Accreta were released to kill Sam, because
Okay.
obviously what happened with Dean, he was already dead.
Hmm.
So Dean was doing it for Sam, going back in time and messing with
Right,
time.
right,
For
yeah.
Sam, he gave John the colt and stuff like that. So he was doing it for Sam. So that's why he's not in it. But at the same time, he didn't even mention it to
Yeah,
Jared.
that's what I'm saying,
Jared
though, to
found
me,
out
like,
when we found out. That to me, that was a
that
massive issue.
sentiment
Like,
seems like off, because it could be
Yeah.
like, surely you just say, look, I'm looking to do this spin-off. I might need you for it at some point. I might not. Like, I feel like, wouldn't that have just like to me, it's like you're already starting off in like uneven ground. You know what I mean? So like, I don't know.
Mhm.
I'm not gonna. I'm obviously you'll know better than me. I'm not gonna say that's the reason it failed, but I would just say like, I feel like you're setting up this weird precedence. I don't know. It'd be like we've been doing this podcast for like 10 years, then all of a sudden I'm like, I'm gonna do a separate podcast, and it's gonna be me and Lottie, but without you, and it's gonna be the same content, and then you find out about it. Like, I just seems sly. It just seems really sly.
Yeah,
Like,
it just like a
I
stab in
don't
the back,
think it would
yeah.
matter if I'd said that. If I'd said, look, me and Lottie are going to do a separate
No,
podcast, ours is still going to
obviously not.
exist and everything, but I would just also going to, it wouldn't be an issue at all. But like, I would tell
No.
you because you're my best friend. I would tell you even if you weren't my
Like,
best friend. I would just tell you as a fucking like the podcast fucking colleague or whatever. Like, if you were just some random guy who I just happened to do this show with, I'd still fucking tell you because it's just the right thing to do. So for me, it just felt like that feels like starting off on the wrong foot straight away. And that's me further to my point of like, other people who are writing it, do they love Supernatural, or do they just just know there's a lot of money in Supernatural, and that's what it feels like to me? It feels like the latter.
I think that's more of a case they're just trying to cash in on the.
It's a paycheck, yeah.
Yeah, I think they're just trying to cash in on the popularity of Supernatural, because Supernatural does have a massive fan base. And from what I've gathered, from what I've seen online, the Winchesters just doesn't have that. It doesn't have that heart, so it's not going to have the same hardcore fans.
Yeah, I mean, if you look through all the tweets, you see people saying, "Oh, I really wanted to see X character in the show." So that's why they're trying to bring it back, in the hopes that Dean and Cass are going to shag each other on screen, which is never going to happen.
Hey,
like, I
it's a
get that
different
people ship
reality, it
them, and I don't
might.
have a problem. Well, it might, I suppose, but yeah, like, I that doesn't bother me. But that's what they're looking for. They're not saying, well, the show sucks, we need a better show if it comes back. They're saying, oh, well, Dean and Cass might kiss, or Sam might go out with bloody Crowley, or whatever. Do you know what I mean? That's what, oh, we should bring it back for Cass and Dean, more Jack. Well, they're from Supernatural, they're not from the Winchesters. Do you know what I mean? So they're trying to bring it back for the wrong reasons.
Yeah, but even then, Crowley.
I'll stop talking about Supernatural now.
But even then, like, the character of Crowley would make sense, because Crowley would still exist in that different universe. He just might not be the king of hell. So it would make sense. Like you said, the trickster was there. So some of the characters that could literally be in it would have made sense, and probably would have drawn people in a little bit more. like maybe Cass as the original Cass, like the before he became so close with Dean, the one that didn't really understand humans. Like even just having that Cass back would have helped slightly. But yeah, it just sounds like they're trying to cash in on what Supernatural did without actually replicating any of the heart behind it.
Yeah,
So
and
Supernatural's dead, franchises are dead, and that's the end of the podcast.
Yeah, Paul hates everything.
Paul
This
hates
is the
everything.
Paul's mad
So
hour.
please do.
That's all this is.
Yeah. So please do drop a like, because that's the only thing that'll cheer Paul up. If you enjoy this, subscribe for more, because I guarantee they'll end up, if you love Supernatural, they'll end up talking about it again. So yes, and we'll catch you in the next one. Thank you very much for watching. You can find Paul at the Geordie Nerd on YouTube, and you can find us at this channel, Geordie Media. So cheers. Bye.
Thanks.
Bye.